Welcome to the High Performance Equestrian podcast, brought to you by Fit Science EQ, online fitness for equestrians, delivered to you. I'm Dr. Fee. This episode is about habits and lifestyle, building a lifestyle that contributes to rider fitness. One of the biggest mistakes I see riders make in this area is going on time-limited programs. So they subscribe to, say, a 30-day rider fitness program or a 3-month rider fitness program, and they think that will deliver all of those magical results that we want: stability, mobility, balance, symmetry. But the problem is, a time-limited program, by definition, is something that you go on and then you go off at the end of that time period. So what's next? The reality is that the prize for achieving fitness goals is you get to keep working on fitness to maintain those goals. If you go off a program, you will very quickly regress to the pre-program state. And honestly, riders don't have time to mess around with short-term strategies, offering quick fixes, or something that you do that might deliver some results, but then you don't really know what to do next because there's nothing after that time-limited program. The point is, we want to ride long-term, don't we? If we can. We want longevity in our equestrian pursuits. That means we have to approach training the rider in a sustainable way, exactly how we approach training our horses, of course. And the only way to do that is to create habits that will persist over time so the lifestyle delivers the fitness results that you want. What I'm talking about is called automaticity. So that exercise, the right type of exercise that's contributing to your riding, becomes what you do most of the time. And yes, that is entirely possible if approached in the right way. Now at this point you might be thinking, well, I've tried this fitness program and that fitness program, or I've tried going to the gym, or I've tried doing some other activity and it's not working, or it works for a while, it doesn't stick, I can't find anything that will persist. And that is okay. Sometimes we have to find the 12 or 20 or 100 ways that something doesn't work until we find what will work, but it doesn't mean we stop trying. However, in this area of building exercise habits, there are much better ways to go about it than just trying different things every time. My guess is, even if you have tried before and failed, it's more likely that the plan failed you than you failed the plan. Yes, it might sound like semantics, but it is entirely possible that you haven't tried the strategy that will deliver the results you want. As in, you might have tried to increase your fitness or increase your mobility or lose some weight or any other fitness goals. So you might have tried to do those things by doing those very things, so doing some cardiovascular exercise or using some strategies that are associated with weight loss. But what would actually bring the results is developing the habits or the processes that ensure you become someone who exercises, or someone who eats well, someone who does cardiovascular training regularly. What I'm referring to is the difference between outcome goals and process goals. And process goals are the ones we're really looking for to build habits here, because they deliver the outcome goals. The very first step in thinking about changing our lifestyle, changing our exercise habits, getting fit, is about gaining clarity of what you want to work on. It's very tempting to jump on the fresh start effect bandwagon. Maybe it's New Year's, maybe it's a new month, maybe it's a new week. And it's very tempting to jump on that motivation and want to change everything and have a whole new you. Now, research shows us that that is probably the worst way to change habits for several reasons. And what we really want to do is find out what our priorities are. what has the highest importance for us to work on first, and just focus on that one thing at a time. Now, don't worry, I know you've probably got a list of many things you want to achieve, many goals in the area of rider fitness, lifestyle, nutrition, sleep, exercise, mobility. There's so many things you can work on, but it is important just to focus on one first. What we know is that making gains in one area can translate to healthy lifestyle habits in other areas. And exercise is what we call a gateway behavior because it can very effectively influence those other areas. For example, if you exercise, you might sleep better. If you sleep better, you might make better food choices. And the converse is also true, isn't it? If you haven't slept well, you're likely to just grab whatever sugary snack you think might give you some quick energy. And you're also probably too tired to exercise. I really like to get riders to focus just on one thing at a time for themselves because it is hard enough, I know, to get you guys to focus on the rider at all, to get that attention off the horse for 5 minutes. So I'm very realistic about how much you're going to focus on the rider. So let's just focus on one thing at first. To further drill down on our clarity of what we should be working on first, of the area that we're most likely to have success in, is to use a couple of tools called the importance and confidence rulers. And they are pretty much exactly as they seem. If you have a couple of things you're thinking of working on in mind, I want you to ask yourself, firstly, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it to me at this time that I make gains in this area? Scale of 1 to 10. So 1 being not very important, 10 being of the utmost importance. And then follow that up with confidence. Ask yourself, how confident am I that I can make changes in this area at this time? 1 being not very confident at all, and 10 being very confident. To select your one area of focus, you want to find something with highest importance. This is key. If I was coaching you personally, I might look at your wellness questionnaire and I might say, oh, I think you should work on nutrition. But if nutrition is not important to you and something else is, then you should work on that something else. Because when it comes to the time to act, you will have many competing priorities, especially when you're in the phase of building the habit, when you need some self-discipline to just execute. If this goal is not terribly important, if it is not important enough to you, repeating those actions is going to be quite a chore. Now, on that confidence ruler, I'd like you to ask yourself a follow-up question, and that is, why did I pick this number and not a lower number? That's right, I'm not going to ask why not a higher one, I want to know why not a lower one. So if you wanted to start exercising and your confidence was 5, you might be telling yourself messages such as, oh, my confidence is only 5 because I've tried a bunch of exercise programs and I never stick with them. I'm not really interested in that message at the moment. What I'd like to focus on is, why did you pick a 5 and not a 3? That way, you're going to pull out some strengths and some successes or some experience that you can build on, and that's really important. You might say, it's a 5 and not a 3 because I used to exercise and I did find some activities I'd enjoyed in the past. They're maybe not accessible now, but I have some confidence and some experience in this area. Once you have that initial part of clarity around what is most important and how confident you are that you can make change in this area, what you actually do with that information is you use it to help you come up with the best strategy for moving forward from this exact point where you are now. You're not going to imagine the best, most optimal exercise program that you should immediately go on. that might be, running 5 days a week, because it's totally unsustainable and you don't have enough confidence for that. If your confidence is low in your primary area of focus, your first actions should actually be geared at increasing your confidence to change in this area. Not necessarily just starting new actions to become habits, if that makes sense. For example, if you wanted to improve nutrition, perhaps more specifically by increasing fruit and vegetable intake, your actions that you will start with, if you have low confidence in this area, might be more around building skills, building knowledge around what fruits and veggies are seasonal, how to prepare them, looking up recipes, getting inspiration by attending some cooking workshops or looking some up online. So increasing your confidence around becoming someone who eats more fruits and veggies. So that's what you work on for the first week, 2 weeks, as long as it takes to move the needle on that confidence ruler. Once that starts to look a little bit better, then you can really put some actions in your plan that look more like 3 days a week, I'm going to hit that goal of 5 and 2, 5 veggies, 2 fruits. That's a general wellness nutrition recommendation. Can you see how that approach could be more successful than just straight out of the gate saying to yourself, I'm going to eat 5 and 2 every day from now on? Because that's quite difficult if your confidence is low. This area of habit change is so rich with research, and we have so much great evidence on what works and what doesn't work. It is so important to approach this in the right way, to not waste time, to as much as possible be moving forward one step at a time, that I have built a habit program into what I offer in Fit Science EQ in my equestrian fitness programs, because the adherence is, of course, the single most important thing. It doesn't matter if I write the best equestrian fitness program on earth. If a person doesn't do it and keep doing it consistently, they won't get any results at all. And that is why I think this behavioural aspect is just unbelievably important. Apart from looking at the importance and confidence in focusing our goals and getting clarity around where to start, and apart from thinking about the difference between process and outcome goals, there's another consideration, and that is approach and retreat goals. Quite simply put, it's your to-do and not to-do. The to-do is I want to exercise more, or I want to eat more veggies. The not to-do is I want to not drink soda, or I want to reduce my sugary snack consumption. Now, what I can tell you from the research is that those approach goals, the ones to do that seem more positive, are much more successful. And this is true to the point where even if you're trying to give up something like alcohol or smoking, you're so much better off focusing and trying to increase the habit that might displace that. For example, I want to increase my nicotine patch using or my Nicorette gum chewing, or I want to increase my consumption of non-alcoholic beverages, rather than the plan and the messages in your head all day being don't smoke, or don't drink. Now, if we put together these little snippets of habit building that I've been through in this podcast, the clarity, the focus, the process goal, the approach goal, you can start to see how even if you've had previous attempts in the area that you'd like to make changes, you might have approached it in a totally different way that wasn't necessarily built on an evidence-based strategy to change behaviour. I will do some other podcasts on this rich area of behaviour change because I believe it is a very valuable tool for equestrians. As I mentioned before, equestrians will put their horses first in all cases, so it's really hard to get us to do a bunch of other things for the rider. So the only way to succeed in this area is to build those habits long term. And I know that doesn't sound as attractive as quick fixes and very dramatic programs, but I promise you that the net effect will be so much greater. You will not notice it as much, and that means you'll actually be able to sustain it and get the outcomes you want. Thanks for listening. To put this theory into practice, visit fitscienceeq.com and train with us to enhance your riding.